I know this video is kind of late, but I just want those who signed either Van Nistelrooij, Puskas, and Tevez to know their weaknesses, so you can use them to their full potential. On paper, they all look unstoppable. They look like the kind of players that will carry your entire team. But here's the thing, nobody is really talking about. Every single one of these cards has a weakness, and not just small weaknesses. I'm talking about flaws that can genuinely cost you matches if you don't understand them properly. So before you go and spend your hard-earned coins thinking you're getting the perfect striker, let's actually break it down properly, because this pack is one of those classic Konami traps where everything looks amazing at first glance, but once you dig deeper, you start seeing the cracks. And we're starting with Ruud van Nistelrooij, the bullet header striker that everyone is hyping up like he's about to dominate the meta. And don't get me wrong, this card is good. His offensive awareness is elite. His finishing is top tier. His positioning inside the box is exactly what you want from a fox in the box. He will be in the right place at the right time. And if you get the ball to him cleanly, he will score. Simple as that. But here's where the problem starts. This is supposed to be a bullet header striker. That's literally his main selling point. That's what makes him special. And yet when you actually look at his stats, 84 heading and 82 jump, that's not bad. But for a player whose entire identity is built around aerial dominance, that is underwhelming. Like, let's be honest, there are strikers without the bullet header skill who have similar or even better aerial presence. So now you're relying heavily on the skill itself rather than the raw stats, which means in-game consistency might not be as crazy as people expect. And it gets worse when you look at his speed. 91 speed and 91 acceleration might look okay. But in the current eFootball meta, where defenders are getting faster and faster, this is actually a problem. Especially for a striker who doesn't offer much outside the box. He's not the type to dribble past defenders. He's not the type to create his own chances. So if he can't outrun defenders and he's not dominating aerially as much as expected, you start to realize that this card is a bit one-dimensional. And that's dangerous when you're spending coins, because you need versatility at the highest level. So yes, he will score goals. Yes, he will feel clinical. But there will be games where he just disappears, and that's the reality people are not telling you. Now moving on to Ferenc Puskas, and this is where things get really interesting, because on paper, this might actually be the most broken-looking card in the pack. 101 finishing, insane dribbling, amazing ball control, solid speed, and on top of that, he has both blitz curler and low screamer, which is honestly ridiculous because those are two of the most dangerous shooting skills in the game right now. Blitz curler lets you score from angles that should not even be possible, and low screamer just turns every shot into a missile. So naturally, everyone is looking at this card like, yeah, this is the one, this is the must-have, but again, there's a catch, and it's a big one. Puskas has a serious physical problem. His physical contact is only 77, which means he gets bullied, especially against top-tier defenders. And in today's meta where physical defenders are everywhere, this is not something you can ignore. He will get pushed off the ball, he will struggle in tight situations, and if you're someone who likes to hold up play with your striker, this card is going to frustrate you. But that's not even the biggest issue. The real problem is his height. Puskas is not a tall striker, which means aerially he's already at a disadvantage, and combined with that physical weakness, he's not winning duels, he's not dominating defenders. So what you end up with is a striker who is insanely dangerous when he has space, but when the game gets physical, when the defenders are pressing hard, when you're in those sweaty division matches, he can struggle, and that's the trade-off. You're basically choosing between insane shooting ability and lack of physical presence, and depending on your playstyle, that can either be perfect or a complete disaster. Now let's talk about Carlos Tevez, and honestly, this is the card that people are sleeping on the most because he doesn't look as flashy as Puskas, he doesn't have the bullet header hype like Van Nistelrooij, but if you actually look at his stats, this guy is probably the most balanced striker in the pack. 94 offensive awareness, 94 finishing, great dribbling, insane acceleration at 95, good physical contact at 89, and overall he just feels like a complete forward, someone who can do a bit of everything, and in-game, that versatility is extremely valuable. But again, Konami didn't forget to give him weaknesses, because Tevez has two major issues and they both come down to one thing. Aerial ability, his heading is only 76, and combined with his height, this is not a striker you want to rely on in the air. He's not winning headers, he's not scoring crosses consistently, so if your playstyle involves crossing the ball into the box, this card is not for you. Simple as that, and this is where it becomes really interesting, because now you look at all three strikers and you realize something. None of them are complete. Van Nistelrooij is supposed to be the aerial monster, but his stats don't fully back it up. Puskas is the shooting god, but lacks physicality and presence, and Tevez is the all-rounder, but can't compete in the air. So now the real question becomes, who is actually worth your coins? And the answer is not as simple as people think, because it completely depends on how you play the game. If you're someone who relies heavily on crossing and aerial play, Van Nistelrooij might still be your best option despite his flaws, because at least he has the bullet header skill to give him that edge, but you need to accept that he won't be as dominant as you expect. If you're someone who loves taking long shots, cutting inside, and scoring insane goals from outside the box, then Puskas is your guy, because Blitz Curler and Low Screamer is just a ridiculous combination, but you have to deal with the fact that he will get bullied in physical battles, and if you're someone who wants a striker that can do a bit of everything, someone who fits into almost any system, someone who feels consistent in most situations, then Tevez is probably the safest choice. But again, you're sacrificing aerial ability, and that's the key takeaway from this pack. There is no perfect striker here. Every single one of them has a clear weakness, and if you don't understand that before spinning, you're going to be disappointed.